Very good morning, dear students. This is Sandeep Kumar, sir. I will be continuing with our last chapter, that is haloalkanes and haloarenes. In our last session, where we started haloalkanes and haloarenes, please recollect we have already discussed the introduction part, which includes classification, nomenclature, isomerism. And we also solved multiple choice questions related to that. And then we could also able to complete methods of preparation of both haloalkanes and haloarenes and solve questions as well. Okay, so just as a quick recap, I'll go to the previous slide so that you can relate to these questions. Yes, I think these were the last questions that we solved, right? Question number 9, 10, 11. These were related to methods of preparation of haloalkanes, haloarenes, and physical properties. In today's session, we'll continue with chemical properties of haloalkanes and haloarenes, starting with chemical properties of haloalkanes. Okay, so some minimum information you should know. Haloalkanes, are very good in undergoing what are called as nucleophilic substitution reactions. Nucleophilic substitution reactions are typical reactions of haloalkanes. Very, very important. Now, what is a nucleophilic substitution reaction? You all know this. A nucleophile, which is an electron rich species, attacks carbon atom attached to halogen, because halogen atom, because of its electronegativity, withdraws sigma electrons towards itself and therefore acquires a partial negative charge, whereas carbon here acquires a partial positive charge, and hence it gets attracted by a nucleophile. So nucleophile attacks this carbon and halogen atom is made to go out as halide ion. This is the leaving group. So nucleophile displaces another substrate, that is halide ion, and hence this reaction is called as nucleophilic substitution reaction. Okay. Nucleophilic substitution reaction can take place in two ways. One mechanism or one path is called SN1 mechanism, or it's also called as substitution nucleophilic unimolecular. Now, these two mechanisms are very, very important, these two pathways. All of you have studied this for your board exam as well. Okay, so let me take up the first one now, which is SN1 mechanism. SN1 reaction follows first order kinetics. That is, rate of reaction is independent of concentration of the nucleophile. So if I write a rate equation for this, it will be something like this. R is equal to K into molar concentration of alkyl halide only to the power 1. That is SN1 mechanism. It's a two-step process. Look at this. Step 1 involves heterolytic bond fission of the carbon halogen bond. That creates two species, a carbocation and halide ion. And this happens to be the slowest step, or what you call the rate determining step. Slow step or the rate determining step. Okay? Yes. And in the next step, nucleophile attacks carbocation to give the corresponding product. So all of you have studied this mechanism, SN1 mechanism, which involves two-step. It's a two-step process. Next, we'll take up the other alternative, and that is SN2 mechanism. It is substitution nucleophilic bimolecular. It is a single step process and it follows second order kinetics. It follows second order kinetics in the sense that the rate of the reaction depends not only on the concentration of the alkyl halide, it also depends on the concentration of the nucleophile. So I can write the rate equation like this. So from this, it's clear that it is a second order reaction. Second order reaction. Yes. Okay. If it's a second order reaction, then it has to take place in one step. No intermediate. SN1 mechanism alli namge carbocation intermediate ittu, right? Now here in SN2 mechanism, there is no intermediate. You have a transition state. There is a transition state. Transition state. Yes. This is SN2 mechanism. Okay. Now, uh, as far as these two mechanisms are concerned, SN1, SN2, there is another important point to be remembered here. Please have a look at these systems. This is allyl system. This is allyl system. Okay. Allyl halide. It gives rise to allyl carbocation. Allyl carbocation. The one you see on the right is benzyl carbocation. Benzyl carbocation. Okay. Now, these are primary carbocations, right? Though they are primary carbocations, both allyl and benzyl carbocation are stabilized by resonance. These are intermediates which are stabilized by resonance. See, you can show resonance structures, Ilnodi, conjugation. Yes. Because of which allyl carbocation and benzyl carbocation are highly stable due to resonance, and hence allyl halides and benzyl halides undergo nucleophilic substitution reaction usually by SN1 mechanism. Usually by SN1 mechanism. Okay, right. I'll now give you the reactivity order for both SN1 and SN2. Okay, for SN1 mechanism, the reactivity order is, for SN1 mechanism, the reactivity order is tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. Tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. Reactivity order for SN1 mechanism. For SN2, it's just the opposite. You all know this. For SN2, the reactivity order is just the opposite, which is primary greater than secondary greater than tertiary. This is because of steric hindrance. Steric hindrance is the reason. Yes. Okay. Next. Let's try to list out differences between SN1 and SN2 mechanisms. These are the differences. Okay. First, SN1 mechanism is a first order reaction. SN2 is a second order reaction. Now, SN1 mechanism involves, please mark it, it takes place in what are called as polar protic solvents. Polar protic solvents. The polar protic solvent? Polar protic solvents are those in which hydrogen atom is attached to highly electronegative atoms like oxygen, fluorine, nitrogen, and so on. Okay, see this? Water, alcohol, acetic acid, all these have hydrogen attached to oxygen. These are called polar protic solvents. I repeat once again, polar protic solvents are those in which hydrogen atom is directly attached to electronegative elements like oxygen, fluorine, and nitrogen. On the other hand, for SN2, which solvent is preferred? Polar aprotic solvents. Polar aprotic solvents. These are solvents in which hydrogen is not attached to electronegative oxygen, nitrogen, or fluorine. Just the opposite of polar protic. So what are the examples under polar aprotic? You have acetone. You have a solvent called DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide. Then acetonitrile, or DMF, called dimethyl formamide. All these are polar aprotic solvents. Okay. Then for SN1, carbocation is intermediate, takes place in 2 steps. For SN2, it takes place in 1 step and proceeds through a transition state, no intermediate. Now, rate of SN1, I told you, tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary, whereas rate of SN2 mechanism is primary greater than secondary greater than tertiary. Okay, right. And weak nucleophiles favor SN1 mechanism, whereas strong nucleophiles favor SN2 mechanism. Weak nucleophiles SN1, strong nucleophiles SN2. Okay. Now, regarding this last point, I'll come back to it again. Okay. This is related to stereochemistry, the last point. I'll come back to that next. Okay. Now let us try to answer some questions related to nucleophilic substitution reactions of haloalkanes. Okay. Question number 12. Carefully read this. Propane nitrile. So you are trying to prepare a nitrile. Nitriles are represented by the general formula RCN. These are organic cyanides or nitrile. Okay. Now you have to prepare it. You have to find out of the 4 options which is the method which is going to give you propane nitrile. Now let me write what is propane nitrile. Propane nitrile is CH3, CH2, C triple bond N. You have to be very careful. Tumba careful agirbeku. Propane nitrile will have 3 carbons. Okay. Usually one mistake made by students is they write 4 carbons for propane nitrile. Right? Propane ge 3 carbon atoms bardu. Nitrile group na separate agi bardre 4 carbon atoms baratte. That is wrong. Right? Propane nitrile has root word prop. Prop is the root word. If root word is prop, then there must be 3 carbon atoms only in the chain. So in the given structure, there should be only 3 carbons, not 4. So I repeat once again, don't get confused. For propane nitrile, don't write propyl group and then add nitrile group to it. That will make it 4 carbons and it will be wrong. Okay. So we now know the structure of propane nitrile. Then we'll see which method here is correct or which method here helps us in preparing propane nitrile. We all are familiar with this reaction, nucleophilic substitution reaction of haloalkane, wherein haloalkane Rx is made to react with potassium cyanide, alcoholic potassium cyanide solution. Alcoholic potassium cyanide dissolved in alcohol. Cyanide ion acts as nucleophile and displaces or replaces halogen. So you get RCN. Very simple reaction. And X comes out as X minus, halide ion, leaving group. Alva? So now using this as the idea, let's try to figure out how one can prepare propane nitrile. See, if I want propane nitrile, CH3, CH2, C triple bond N. Okay. So I should start with some alkyl halide. I should start with alkyl halide because alkyl halides undergo nucleophilic substitution reaction very easily. Now in the given options, how many options have alkyl halides in them? Option A nalli alcohol ide. That's not to be considered. Option B also has alcohol, ethyl alcohol. No, you don't use alcohol. Option C has propyl chloride. Option D is ethyl chloride. Okay. So our answer is one of these options, C or D. C or D. Because in options C and D, you have alkyl halide. Now decide madbeku C athwa D anta. Okay. Here, in the given product, there are 3 carbon atoms. 3 carbon atoms. 3 carbon atoms. Remember, with KCN, potassium cyanide, cyanide ion acts as a nucleophile. Cn minus is the nucleophile. And Cn minus itself contains 1 carbon atom. Adralle 1 carbon atom ide. Correct? So, namage 3 carbon atoms iro product beko. Nucleophile itself has 1 carbon atom, which means our substrate alkyl halide, the reactant alkyl halide, must contain only 2 carbon atoms. Very simple analysis. We want a 3 carbon product. The reagent, the nucleophile cyanide, already has a carbon atom in it. So our reactant should have 2 carbon atoms. Okay. So now between option C and option D, which option has haloalkane with 2 carbons? It is ethyl chloride. Ethyl chloride has only 2 carbons, CH3, CH2, Cl. That's the reason why option D becomes our correct answer here. Ethyl chloride with KCN gives us propane nitrile. If we consider option C consider madadre in product barutte nodona. If you take propyl chloride already has 3 carbon atoms in it. And if it reacts with KCN, 1 more carbon comes in. So 3 plus 1, it becomes 4. Then it becomes butane nitrile. We don't want that here. We want propane nitrile. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Okay? Right. For question number 12, it's option D. Now, let me take up question number 13. Ammonia reacts with excess ethyl chloride to give. Okay? So, you are trying to react ammonia with excess ethyl chloride. At the same time, dear students, please keep writing quickly as and when I am solving these questions. Write it along with me. At the same time, listen to the explanation also. Okay. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಅಮೋನಿಯಾ ಮತ್ತು ಇಥೈಲ್ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅಂಡ್ in this question, this term excess is very important. That's very, very important. Okay. Let's try to figure it out. So now you have ammonia, NH3. Let's say reacts with haloalkane, RX. Remember, ammonia with lone pair of electrons on nitrogen can act as a nucleophile and attack the carbon atom, thus pushing out halide ion. Okay. So you have halide ion pushed out, and see what the product you get. R group is now attached to NH2. R group is attached to NH2. We have got an amine. Remember amine functional group? NH2 represents amine functional group. Functional groups ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. Amine, nitrile, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acids. You should know the functionality of all these functional groups. Okay. Yes, RNH2 is an amine. Now amines can be classified into the following types based on their degree of substitution. Degree of substitution andre eno? We have seen this. Now idನ್ನ discuss ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. Where under alkyl halides, we had classified alkyl halides as primary alkyl halides, secondary alkyl halides, tertiary alkyl halides. What was the basis for that classification? It was based on number of hydrogen atoms. Okay. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ RNH2. Nitrogen atom has 2 hydrogen atoms. Nitrogen atom is attached to 2 hydrogen atoms. This is what you call a primary amine. ಇದನ್ನ primary amine ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So you have also studied this under your amines chapter, correct? So this is primary amine. Nitrogen attached to one alkyl group or 2 hydrogen atoms. One alkyl group or 2 hydrogen atoms. Okay. Now remember, here ethyl chloride is in excess. Ethyl chloride is in excess. Okay. So now instead of RX, I will replace it with ethyl. Okay. Or let me symbolically represent it as RX itself now. Then we'll take up ethyl. So primary amine reacts with 1 more mole of haloalkane. Then you'll have 1 more R group getting attached to nitrogen. Observe Madi. Please observe the changes closely. RNHR. Now you have 1 more R group coming in place of hydrogen. This is now called secondary amine. Secondary amine. Secondary amine anta yak karitare idanna? Nitrogen atom is now having 1 more extra R group. That is, it is more substituted now. Amine is more substituted. Therefore, you are now calling it secondary amine. Now, how do we identify primary and secondary amines? Primary amine will have 1 R group. Secondary amine will have 2 R groups. Okay. And as and when R groups increase, hydrogen atoms decrease. Now, reaction ille stop agalla. Secondary amine will further react with what? With alkyl halide, because that is in excess. Ethyl chloride is in excess. Now that will result in 1 more hydrogen getting replaced. And see what you get? You now get a compound in which nitrogen is attached to 3 R groups. You call it tertiary amine. Tertiary amine. Okay. And if you are thinking reaction will stop agutte andre, you are wrong. Reaction won't stop at this, because tertiary amine also acts as a nucleophile. Lone pair is nitrogen mele, right? So this will further react with the 4th mole of haloalkane. Okay. And this will give us, check it out, R, N, R, R. There are already 3 R groups. Now you have the 4th R group coming in. 4th R group coming in. But if nitrogen is involved in 4 bonds, then it will acquire a positive charge. This is called quaternary ammonium salt. Quaternary ammonium salt. So if you have taken ethyl chloride or haloalkane in excess with ammonia, you are going to end up getting quaternary ammonium salt. Excess Rx gives quaternary ammonium salt. Quaternary ammonium salt. Alva? So if you have understood this, now it's very easy for us to arrive at the answer. Let me see how many of you have arrived at the answer. Can you send in the chat response? Let me see what are the chat responses you have sent in. Okay. Some of you said D. All of these. Okay. C, D is suggested. A kuda helidare kelavaru. The correct answer is option C. Correct answer is option C, because you are taking the haloalkane in excess. You are taking haloalkane in excess. That's the reason why you should get quaternary ammonium salt. I have demonstrated that. First ammonia primary amine agatte. From primary amine you get secondary amine. Secondary amine will further react to give you tertiary. Tertiary will further react to give you quaternary. That's the reason why you should get quaternary ammonium salt. Now here the given compound is ethyl chloride. Alva? So if you have to get quaternary ammonium salt, then you know nitrogen atom must be attached to 4 R groups. Now what is the R group here? R group here is ethyl. Yake andre we have selected ethyl chloride as the reagent. So R group is ethyl chloride. So I will now have 4 ethyl groups attached to nitrogen. 4 ethyl groups attached to nitrogen. See this? C2H5 with a positive charge. Why positive charge? If nitrogen is involved in 4 bonds, it will have a positive charge. This is called tetraethyl. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ethyl groups attached. Therefore, this is called tetraethyl ammonium. And chloride ion just to act as a counter ion. Role of chloride to act as a counter ion to this positive charge. And this exists as a salt. This is tetraethyl ammonium salt. Tetraethyl ammonium chloride. That is the product you are going to get. Okay. When? Only when you use excess of ethyl chloride. So keep that in mind. So you can ask me, nimgon question kelbodu. What if we don't take excess of ethyl chloride, but we take excess of ammonia? Ethyl chloride badlu ammonia excess tagondre enagutte? If you take ammonia in excess, you will get a primary amine. Excess ammonia gives you predominantly primary amine. But if you take excess haloalkane, you'll get quaternary ammonium salt. This is the explanation for question number 13. Okay, so please do copy it down very quickly. These two are important questions. Question number 12 and question number 13. Okay. I'll pause for a couple of seconds so that you can copy this down, all of you. Yes. Now we'll move on to the next question. Question 14. You have a reaction given here. You have to identify which mechanism is applicable for this reaction. This is a very easy question, because you know, for SN1 reaction, the order of reactivity is, tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. Whereas for SN2, it's just the opposite. Primary greater than secondary greater than tertiary. Okay, so let's now check out what type of alkyl halide is the given alkyl halide. The given alkyl halide is ethyl chloride, CH3, CH2, Cl. Okay, so please understand this. If carbon atom which is attached to halogen, yav carbon halogen attach agidyo, if that carbon atom has 2 hydrogens attached to it, then it is a primary alkyl halide. If that carbon has 2 hydrogens, it's primary alkyl halide. If that carbon has only 1 hydrogen, then it is secondary. If that carbon which is attached to halogen has no hydrogen at all, then it will be tertiary. So now we know this is primary, right? Then check it out. Which mechanism will have high reactivity under primary? It is SN2. SN2 mechanism will have high reactivity for a primary alkyl halide. So C2H5Cl is a primary alkyl halide. Hence, it undergoes nucleophilic substitution via SN2 mechanism. So our correct answer, I'm sure all of you would have guessed it right. Ellaru guess ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನ, option B, SN2 mechanism. Yes, that is question number 14. Now coming to question number 15. Okay, question number 15 is very similar to question number 14, but here we have to find out among the 4 compounds given of the 4 options, which compound undergoes SN1 mechanism faster. Okay, but the issue here is you are given bond line notations. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ. ಈ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೈನ್ ನೋಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರೆಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರೆಟ್ ದೆಮ್ ವೆಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಯು ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಗೋಸ್ SN1 reaction faster? We all know what is the order of SN1 reactivity. SN1 reactivity is, I write it again, tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. So here you are supposed to find out which undergoes the reaction faster. Andre, of these you have to find out which is a tertiary alkyl halide, because tertiary alkyl halides undergo this reaction faster. Okay, so let's check out one by one. Option A ನೋಡೋಣ. Option A is written something like this, right? This is bond line notation. So remember, this carbon, I can write this as CH3, CH2, Cl. Correct? So in bond line notation, every point represents a carbon atom. Every point represents a carbon atom, and hydrogen atoms are not shown. So you should understand or realize their presence. Okay, CH3, CH2. Now, agle helidage, if carbon atom attached to halogen has 2 hydrogens, then it's a primary alkyl halide. Primary halide. Okay, so A is a primary halide that is least reactive in SN1. Now let's check up B. B nodi, option B. This is option B. It's written something like this, Cl with a bond here. Now let us expand it. CH3, CH2, CH. Now to CH you have Cl attached and then CH3. Okay. Now see here, the carbon atom to which chlorine is attached has only 1 hydrogen atom attached to it. So this becomes a secondary alkyl halide. Secondary alkyl halide. Okay. Then let's look at option C. Option C is written something like this as a bond line notation. Now let's try to expand its structure. CH3 attached to carbon, attached to one more CH3, one more CH3 here, 3 CH3 groups attached, and then you have 1 chlorine. Now carefully observe. This is an example where chlorine atom is attached to carbon which has no hydrogens. Therefore, this is tertiary. Maximum substitution, tertiary. Okay, so now option C is tertiary. That's what we wanted, because in SN1 mechanism, tertiary alkyl halide is the one which reacts the fastest. So we have already got the correct answer. The correct answer is option C, tertiary alkyl halide. Okay, ನೀವು ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೈನ್ ನೋಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In the exam, you don't have to write all this. I am writing all this because I am explaining things to you. ನೀವು exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ, the moment you see these options, you must be able to recognize them. Okay, first option, chlorine is attached to carbon which has 2 hydrogens. Ali 2 hydrogens indicate madilla, but you should realize their presence. But that is bond line notation. Okay. Option B, chlorine is attached to 1 carbon which is attached to 2 alkyl groups, so it's secondary. Option C, chlorine is attached to a carbon wherein there are 3 alkyl groups, no place for hydrogen, so it is tertiary. So straight away within 5 seconds you must be able to arrive at the answer for this. Easy question. That was question number 15. Now next question, question number 16. Okay, before we take up question number 16, we have a very important idea to understand, and that is optical isomerism. Okay, so we know stereoisomerism involves 2 types, geometric and optical. We have discussed and studied geometrical isomerism under alkenes. Please recollect, ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, in our previous worksheet, that is hydrocarbons, under alkenes section we have already studied geometrical isomerism. Now we will explore what is optical isomerism. Optical isomerism is also a type of stereoisomerism. Okay, yes, please have a look at these 2 compounds given here. It's an amino acid called alanine. Okay, now the mirror image of alanine molecule is non-superimposable over the molecule. Okay, so such a pair of non-superimposable mirror images, non-superimposable andre there is no point-to-point match. Okay, so such a pair of non-superimposable mirror images are called enantiomers. Enantiomers anta kariತೀವಿ. So the two structures given of alanine are enantiomers. They are not the same. They are two different compounds. Okay, and these compounds exhibit a very important physical property called optical activity, and hence they are also called optical isomers because they exhibit optical activity. Optical activity. What is optical activity? Optical activity is ability of a compound to rotate plane of plane polarized light. So these molecules are able to do it. Okay. Now one molecule, if it rotates plane polarized light to the right, the other molecule would rotate it to the left. We'll see that. Okay. Now for us to find out whether a given molecule shows optical isomerism or not, a given example, if it shows optical isomerism or not, if it exists as enantiomers or not anta tilkobeku andre, you need to be aware of two conditions. Okay, conditions for chirality. Conditions for chirality. What is chirality? This very phenomenon of mirror images being non-superimposable. Mirror images being non-superimposable. Superimposable is called chirality. The origin of this word is chir, which means handedness, like a right hand and left hand. Right hand and left hand are mirror images, but you can't superimpose your right hand over your left hand, right? So that is what is called as chirality. All molecules which are non-superimposable over their mirror images are called chiral molecules. So if a molecule has to be chiral, ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್? ಸಿ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಟೂ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, absence of plane of symmetry. There must be no plane of symmetry. Plane of symmetry is that imaginary plane which cuts the molecule into two equal halves. I repeat, plane of symmetry is that imaginary plane which cuts the molecule into two equal halves. So if such a plane of symmetry is not there, absence, presence alla, absence, okay? If such a plane of symmetry is not there, then you can term the compound or molecule chiral. That is one way. Another way is, if you find an sp3 hybridized carbon atom, sp3 hybridized only, not sp2 or sp, okay? If you find sp3 hybridized carbon atom attached to 4 different atoms or groups, then you consider the molecule to be chiral. Any molecule which has an sp3 carbon atom attached to 4 different, all the 4 groups must be different, then that molecule will be considered chiral, and that carbon atom is called chiral center, or it's also called stereogenic center. Chiral center or stereogenic center. Okay, yes, and these are all the important properties of enantiomers. They have identical chemical properties but differ in optical activity, and they have identical physical properties. I told you, differ in optical activity. If one isomer rotates plane polarized light to the right, the other isomer rotates it to the left. So the isomer which rotates plane polarized light to the right is called dextro, right side rotation or clockwise rotation. The other isomer which exhibits or rotates plane polarized light to the left is called levo or anti-clockwise rotation. Yes, different biological properties. So this is optical isomerism, basic information related to optical isomerism. Okay, now let us apply this idea to SN1, SN2 mechanisms. We'll apply this idea to SN1 and SN2 mechanisms. Now there are these possible outcomes in an SN1 or an SN2 mechanism. Okay, ಏನೇನು ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, right? In one case, please observe, this molecule is chiral. This is a chiral molecule. How do we know it's a chiral molecule? Please check it out. This central carbon here, this central carbon here is sp3 hybridized and it is attached to 4 different atoms or groups: ethyl, methyl, halogen atom, hydrogen atom. All the 4 are different. Hence, it is chiral. Now, whenever you have a chiral molecule, these are the possibilities. Y minus nucleophile, Y minus nucleophile can take the same position as X. See, in A, I'm talking about A now. It can take the same position as X. Then you say the configuration is retained, retention. This is retention. Okay. The other possibility is Y minus can take a position opposite to that of X. Opposite to that of X. This is called inversion. Inversion. Y is taking a position opposite to that of X. Okay. Relative position of Y is opposite to that of X. Then the third possibility is you can get both inversion and retention, A plus B. This is called a racemic mixture. Racemic mixture. An equimolar mixture of a pair of inverted and retention compound is called racemic mixture. This is equimolar mixture. Equimolar mixture. Equimolar andre same concentration, same amounts, 50% of one isomer, 50% of the other isomer. Okay, such an equimolar mixture of an inversion product and a retention product is nothing but a pair of enantiomers. Equimolar mixture of a pair of enantiomers. This is what you call a racemic mixture. These are the 3 possibilities that arise. But let's see in SN1 and SN2 mechanisms, how many of these possibilities are applicable. Okay, let's check it out. Next slide. Okay, let's take up SN1. You'll notice 50% mixture is called racemization, and this is optically inactive. Very important point. Racemic mixture is optically inactive because the optical rotation carried out by dextroisomer is negated or compensated by the levoisomer. Okay, next. Let us apply this to our SN1, SN2 mechanisms. First, SN2 mechanism. See what happens in SN2 mechanism. Check this out. OH minus nucleophile attacks. Sorry, first we'll take up SN2. OH minus takes up a position opposite to Br. This is the relative position of bromine atom. But look at the position of OH. It is the relative position is opposite to that of Br. Hence, this is inversion. This is inversion. In particular, this is called Walden inversion. This is called Walden inversion. Okay. Whereas in SN1, see what happens? You get a carbocation in SN1. Carbocation is planar. Because it is planar, you can have OH minus from attacking it from above the plane or below the plane. There are 2 possibilities. Because there are 2 possibilities, you get both dextro compound and levo compound. Both inversion product and retention product. So, what is the outcome here? For SN1 mechanism, the outcome is racemic mixture. Racemic mixture. Okay. Right. So, for SN2, outcome is Walden inversion. Walden inversion. For SN1, the outcome is racemic mixture. Important points. Okay, that's about stereochemistry, basics of stereochemistry, and how it is applicable to SN1 and SN2 mechanisms. Okay, now we will solve questions related to this. We'll solve MCQs related to this. Okay, question number 18. Question number 18. Optically active compound among isomers of C4H9Cl. This is the compound with formula C4H9Cl. You have to find out which of these 4 options is optically active. Now, please understand, for a compound to be optically active, one of the conditions is the molecule must be chiral. And for a molecule to be branded as chiral, it should have an sp3 carbon atom, sp3 hybridized carbon atom attached to 4 different groups. Attached to 4 different groups. Okay, we'll check it out one by one. First one, option A. Option A, Nodi. There are many sp3 hybridized carbon atoms, but none of them have a carbon atom attached to 4 different groups: CH2, CH2, and CH3. See, a CH2 carbon can never act as a chiral center. ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ CH2 group ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, that can never act as a chiral center. Okay, CH3 group can also CH3 group also will not act as a chiral center, can never be a chiral center. Okay, chiral centers can be a CH group or just carbon atom. So nim focus bari CH ಮತ್ತೆ C ಮೇಲೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. Okay, option A has no CH or C, so it is ruled out, it is not chiral. Let's check out option B. In option B, see, there is one CH. I'm highlighting it, see. Okay, now we'll see whether it is attached to 4 different atoms or groups. Okay, chlorine on one side, methyl group, then you have ethyl group. Ethyl group is there. Methyl, ethyl are different, so don't think that methyl also has carbon, ethyl also has carbon, therefore the two are identical. No, don't just focus on one atom, your focus must be on the entire group. Observe madi, this is one common mistake made. Don't focus on just one atom. Don't think that in both cases the connecting atom is carbon, so they are identical. Allah, look at the entire group. One is methyl, one is ethyl, and then you have one hydrogen. All the 4 different. All the 4 different. Hence this becomes a chiral center. If there is a chiral center, then yes, that's a chiral molecule. So I can now safely say option B is our answer. Option B is our answer. That's the chiral molecule. Okay, option C and option D check marna, just out of curiosity. Okay, if you check option C and option D, in option C, see, 2 methyl groups are identical, same, identical, so that carbon cannot act as a chiral center. In option D, even in option D, there is a CH group. Yes, but again CH group is attached here. In option C, there are 3 identical methyl groups. In option D, there are 2 identical methyl groups. So that will not act as a chiral molecule. Okay. Yes, that was the solution for question number 18. Question number 19, Norna. Okay. It appears as though some big compound is given. Let us see. The reaction described below is, okay, here you are given a mechanism, a reaction. You are supposed to find out which mechanism is applicable here. Okay, carefully observe this. Look at the position of the leaving halide ion, bromine, and the incoming nucleophile OH. Compare their positions, please. Okay, the position of OH in the product, relative position of OH in the product is exactly opposite to the relative position of bromine in the reactant, which means it has undergone inversion, or what you call Walden inversion. So which mechanism shows Walden inversion? It is SN2. Straight away you can figure out the answer. Option B, SN2 mechanism. Good. That is about question number 19. Okay, now let me go to the next question, or I think we have next set of reactions. Okay, we have one more set of questions, we'll check it out. SN1 reaction of alkyl halides leads to which of this? So answer is very easy. I'm sure all of you would be marking option B, racemization. SN1 reaction always leads to racemization, whereas SN2 reaction leads to inversion. This is option C is inversion. This is SN2. Option B is SN1. Namgil kelirodu SN1, therefore option B must be the correct answer. Yes. Question number 21. SN1 reaction is favored by which are the factors which favor SN1? Non-polar solvent? No. SN1 reaction is favored by polar protic. So A is ruled out. Bulky group present on the carbon atom attached to halogen? Yes, this is the correct answer, because you know order of reactivity for SN1 is tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. Okay, so more bulkier the group, more steric hindrance, and therefore SN2 is discouraged. And more bulkier the group, more stable the carbocation is. So for SN1 mechanism, the important point is carbocation stability. Carbocation stability. Okay, so bulky groups will stabilize carbocation more by inductive effect, and hence that favors SN1. So option B happens to be our correct answer here for question number 21. Option B. Okay, now let us move on. These are easy questions. Please understand and learn the differences between SN1 and SN2 mechanism. Okay, now here is a question. The reaction which will go faster. We want to see which of these reaction goes faster when the concentration of nucleophile is increased. Dear student, please mark this part of the question. Please highlight this part of the question, because this will tell us whether the reaction follows SN1 mechanism or SN2 mechanism. Please recollect, which mechanism depends on concentration of nucleophile? It is SN2 mechanism. So you know SN2 mechanism is second order. SN2 follows second order kinetics, and for which I can write the rate equation as R is equal to K, rate constant, into molar concentration of the alkyl halide and molar concentration of the nucleophile. Okay, so when concentration of nucleophile is increased, rate increases, it has to be SN2 mechanism. Okay, and what's the order of reactivity for SN2? For SN2, I'll write the order of reactivity again: primary greater than secondary greater than tertiary. Once you analyze this, our job becomes easy. So looking at the reactions here, it appears as though some complex compounds are given. Okay, so don't have to worry. Just figure out what type of alkyl halide is it. Okay, so structures nodi hedurkolbardu. You just have to find out what type of alkyl halide it is. Okay, option A. Check out option A. Option A has bromine atom attached to a carbon, which attached to 3 different alkyl groups. So if a carbon atom having halogen is attached to 3 different alkyl groups, what type of alkyl halide is it? It's a tertiary alkyl halide. Option A is tertiary. Option B. See, bromine atom is attached to one carbon. I'll highlight that. I'm highlighting it. See, bromine atom is attached to a carbon atom which is attached to 2 hydrogens. All hydrogens mentioned Madilla, but you should know their presence. Okay, that's what is bond line notation. So option B has carbon which is attached to halogen having 2 hydrogens. So it is primary. Option B is primary. Option C. Option C, Nodi. Again, I'll highlight that carbon. Carbon attached to halogen is in turn attached to 3 alkyl groups. No hydrogen atom. So again, option C is also tertiary. Option C is also tertiary. Then let's look at option D. Let's see what kind of option is option D. Option D, I'll highlight the carbon. This is the carbon attached to halogen. That is in turn attached to only 1 hydrogen. So 2 hydrogens idre primary, 1 hydrogen means secondary. So option D is secondary. Okay. In SN2 mechanism, which reacts the fastest? Primary. That is what is asked. Among the 4 options, which option has a primary halide? Option B has a primary halide. So option B should be our correct answer. Option B is the correct answer for question number 22. Good. Right. Let us proceed. Hope you all have written it down. Okay. Now, the next set of reactions. Apart from undergoing nucleophilic substitution reactions, which is a very important category of reactions of haloalkanes can also undergo what are called as elimination reactions. Something we have studied in our last worksheet, hydrocarbons. In methods of preparation of alkenes, we discussed this. Okay, so a haloalkane in presence of alcoholic KOH, alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide, okay, undergoes dehydrohalogenation. So what is dehydrohalogenation? Removal of both halogen and hydrogen. See, halogen and hydrogen. So that is what is called as dehydrohalogenation, right? Many a times dehydrohalogenation can result in two products. We have checked this. This is revision again. Okay. Here you get pentuene as major product. This is major, and pentvanene as minor product. This is a minor product. Okay. So to identify major product and minor product in elimination reactions, we take the help of a rule called Sedzev rule. We all have discussed this. Please recollect it. Okay. So how to identify major product in this particular reaction? That alkene which has greater number of alkyl groups attached to carbon-carbon double bond. That alkene which has higher number of alkyl groups attached to carbon-carbon double bond. That is called the more substituted alkene. That is the more substituted alkene. Hence, that becomes the major product. Okay. The real reason behind Sedzev's rule is hyperconjugation concept. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ hyper conjugation ನೆನಪಿರಬಹುದು. This was in our first worksheet. That's the reason I told you first chapter of organic chemistry in your first year is very important for you to understand your second year organic chemistry as well. See, same concepts keep coming in. Hyperconjugation. Okay. So here pentuene has more alkyl groups. It has CH3 and this two alkyl groups. Two alkyl groups attached to double bond. Whereas pentvanene has only one alkyl group attached to double bond. One alkyl group. And therefore pentuene is more substituted. That's the reason why it's major product. This is in accordance to Sedzev's rule. Okay. So then you have a few other reactions of haloalkanes where they react with metals. Haloalkanes react with metallic magnesium in presence of dry ether to give you what are called as Grignard reagents, represented as RMGX. So important reaction. And then this reaction is again familiar to us. We have studied this under alkanes. This is Wurtz reaction where haloalkanes are made to react with metallic sodium in presence of dry ether. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವಾಗಲೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಅಂಡರ್ ಆಲ್ಕೇನ್ಸ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್. ಸೊ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ರಿಪೀಟೆಡ್, ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್. ದೆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್. Okay, we now have questions on these concepts: elimination, Grignard reagent, and Wurtz reaction. Question number 23. Okay, such questions like question number 23, you call them questions based on sequence of reactions. Both in CET and NEET, you'll get questions like this. Series of equations are given, and you'll have to find out the final product C. The given compound is converted to A is converted to B is then converted to C. Okay, so there are a sequence of reactions given, and of the sequence of reactions you have to find out final product C. Let's check it out. Let's look at the solution of this. So the starting reactant here is 2-bromopropane, CH, Br, CH3. Okay, and this is made to react with alcoholic KOH. Remember, alcoholic KOH is a dehydrohalogenating reagent. Okay, this is a dehydrohalogenation reaction. Dehydrohalogenation. So dehydrohalogenation gives you an alkene, right? So bromine is removed with one of these hydrogens and you end up getting an alkene. That alkene is CH3, CH double bond CH2. You get propene. So compound A must be propene. So A ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು. Now we'll see what is B. See, A is made to react with HBr in presence of peroxide. So you know, if you have both HBr and peroxide, the product will be anti-Markovnikov product. The product is opposite to what is predicted via Markovnikov's rule. Markovnikov's addition andreno, H, positive part of the reagent, goes to carbon with more number of hydrogens. That is, it should go to this carbon if it were to be Markovnikov addition. But now you are carrying out the reaction in presence of peroxide, therefore it is anti-Markovnikov addition. Hence H is taken up by carbon with less number of hydrogens, and Br will go to carbon with more number of hydrogens. Okay, so the product you get is CH3, CH2, CH2Br. You get 1 bromopropane. You get 1 bromopropane. Now with allige nillalla, that's not the end of it. This is just product B. Now B is further made to react with sodium iodide in presence of acetone. Okay, I hope all of you can recollect this reaction. Bromoalkane made to react with sodium iodide in acetone as a solvent. Which reaction is this? This is Finkelstein reaction. And you have bromine replaced by iodine. You get CH3, CH2, CH2I. Bromine gets replaced by iodine. This is Finkelstein reaction. All these name reactions you must remember, okay? Finkelstein, Schwartz, and so on. Sandmeyer's. ಈ ನೇಮ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಫಿಂಕಲ್ಸ್ಟೀನ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಸಿ. So our product C is iodopropane, 1 iodopropane. So which is the correct option? Option A is 1 iodopropane. That's our answer. That's question number 23. Okay, right. Next, let's look at question number 24. Okay, an alkyl halide on reaction with sodium in presence of ether. So the moment you see sodium and ether, what should come to your mind? It is Wurtz reaction. This is a question on Wurtz reaction. Great. Okay. Now the compound that you're getting at the end of Wurtz reaction is 2, 2, 5, 5 tetramethylhexane. 2, 2, 5, 5 tetramethylhexane. The alkyl halide is, which means you are supposed to find out what the alkyl halide is knowing the structure of the product. This is called retrosynthetic analysis, working backwards. Usually ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, set of reactants are given and you are asked to find out what the product is. Reactants ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು products identify ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. But in this question, in questions like these, you are given the product ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. From the product you have to identify what the reactants are. This is called retrosynthetic analysis. You're working backwards. Okay, so let us approach this question now. Let me write the structure of the product alkane. 2, 2, 5, 5 tetramethylhexane. You'll notice how I write it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hexane 6 carbon atoms. Then 2, 2. So at the second position there are 2 methyl groups. 2, 2 methyl group ಇದೆ. I am not writing all hydrogen atoms. It's waste of time. ನೀವು ಅಷ್ಟೇ exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ you should not waste time writing all hydrogen atoms. Okay, either write it this way or write bond line notations. And then at the 5th position you have 2 more methyl groups. 5th position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, so this is the product obtained. From this, how can I figure out what the alkyl halide is? Very simple. Very simple. Okay, cleave the alkane, given alkane, into 2 equal halves. Ashte. Okay, cleave it into 2 equal halves and write down the fragment separately. Separate agi barkoli adana. See, I am writing it separately now. This fragment, please look at this. I am writing this fragment separately. 5 carbons. Okay, now to this I should attach halogen. Where can I attach halogen? Please focus on this carbon, carbon number 3. This was the carbon by which this fragment, which I have circled, is linked to the other fragment. Okay, carbon 3 is the point of linkage. Because carbon 3 is the point of linkage, it is to carbon 3 that you need to attach halogen. Carbon 3 should have halogen. Okay, and looking at the options, it's clear that the halogen is chlorine. From the options it is clear that the halogen is chlorine. So let me attach chlorine here. Carefully observe ಮಾಡಿ why I am attaching halogen to this carbon, because it is carbon 3 that is the point of linkage. Hence chlorine is attached to this carbon here. Now let us give the IUPAC name for this. What is the IUPAC name? This is the longest chain. Number the chain such that substituents get lower number now, 1 and 2. So chlorine is 1. Chlorine comes before methyl in alphabetical order. So this must be named as 1 chloro. 1 chloro. Then 2 methyl groups are substituents. They are present on the second carbon. So it must be 2, 2 dimethyl propane. 1 chloro. Then 2 methyl groups are substituents. They are present on the second carbon. So it must be 2, 2 dimethyl propane. 1 chloro 2, 2 dimethyl propane must be the answer. So which option matches this? 1 chloro 2, 2 dimethyl propane is option B. So for question number 24, correct answer is option B. 1 chloro 2, 2 dimethyl propane. Good. Very good. Now we shall proceed further. This was question number 24. Please write it down. Important question. You are figuring out what the haloalkane is from the product alkane in a Wurtz reaction. That is, you're working backwards. You're working backwards. Okay. Next. That was questions on chemical properties of haloalkanes. Now let us take up chemical properties of haloarenes. Okay. One should remember that haloalkanes undergo nucleophilic substitution very easily, but aryl halides, haloarenes, are less reactive towards nucleophilic substitution. Okay. And you can quote the following reasons. These are the reasons why haloarenes are less reactive, one by one. And this was a very frequently asked question in your board exam. Haloarenes are less reactive than haloalkanes towards nucleophilic substitution reaction. Give reason. So there are 4 reasons. Okay. One is the plus R effect of chlorine, resonance effect of chlorine, because of which carbon chlorine bond acquires partial double bond character. If the bond acquires partial double bond character, the bond becomes strong and therefore less reactive. Okay. That is one reason. Second, hybridization of carbon atom. In haloarene, the carbon atom to which halogen is attached is sp2 hybridized. Let me write it. Let's take an example of a haloarene like chlorobenzene. This carbon here. Okay. Let me highlight that. This carbon here is sp2 hybridized. sp2 hybridized. That's the difference. Because sp2 hybridized carbon atom is more electronegative than sp3 hybridized carbon atom, the electron pair would be more tightly held. That's the reason why it's less reactive. Then unstable phenyl carbocation. If a haloarene indeed forms a carbocation, that carbocation will be unstable. See this? Phenyl cation. Unstable. Okay. Next, repulsion between electron rich species. Yes. So benzene ring system represents an electron rich system, and if a nucleophile tries to attack it, there will be repulsion. Okay. So that's the reason why haloarenes will not undergo nucleophilic substitution easily, but you can make them undergo nucleophilic substitution under drastic conditions. Replacement of hydroxyl group. So what are these drastic conditions? You can treat chlorobenzene with sodium hydroxide under high temperature and high pressure, called Dow's process. That is one method. Okay. Or you can introduce electron withdrawing nitro groups. See this? Nitro groups are strongly electron withdrawing. Strongly electron withdrawing. Okay. So they will favor nucleophilic substitution reactions. More nitro groups, better it is. You'll observe, Madi, when there is one nitro group, temperature required is 443 Kelvin. When there are two nitro groups, temperature required is 368 Kelvin. Temperature drops. When there are three nitro groups, temperature required is very less, around 35 degrees Celsius, around just 35 degrees Celsius, or somewhere around 308 Kelvin. So more nitro groups, better the reaction. Okay. So nitro groups favor this reaction. And one more point, nitro groups Show this effect only at ortho and para position, not at meta position. Point to be remembered. ನೀವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನಿಸಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ ನೋ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೈಟ್ರೋ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಎಟ್ ದ ಮೆಟಾ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್. ನೋಡಿ, ಮೆಟಾ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಹೈಲೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. No nitro group at the meta positions. See, nitro groups are only at the ortho and para position. That's very important point. Okay, that's about replacement of this. Next. So if haloarenes cannot undergo nucleophilic substitution easily, they can undergo electrophilic substitution reaction. Okay, and here you have to remember these points. Halogen atom is slightly deactivating. It won't activate the ring, but it will slightly deactivate the ring. Why? Yak ring deactivate agutte? That is because in haloarenes, minus I effect becomes stronger than plus R effect. Negative inductive effect is stronger. So if it is minus I, it ends up becoming electron withdrawing group. Therefore, it deactivates it. Okay, but it is still orthopara directing because it shows plus R effect. Because of plus R effect, it is orthopara directing. It is orthopara directing. Okay, so accordingly, you have the following examples under haloarenes. Halogenation, wherein you treat chlorobenzene with chlorine in presence of Lewis acid FeCl3. See, you get both ortho product and para product. This is ortho dichloro and this is para dichloro. Ortho dichloro and para dichloro. One is major, one is minor. Always para isomer is thermodynamically more stable than ortho isomer. Para isomer usually thermodynamically, okay, more stable than ortho isomer. Okay, next. Nitration, similarly, you can treat chlorobenzene with nitrating mixture. You get ortho-nitrochlorobenzene and para-nitrochlorobenzene. Then you have sulfonation, I believe. Yes, you treat it with concentrated sulfuric acid. You get orthochlorosulfonic acid, para. Again, para product is major product. Then you have two important reactions. Friedel-Crafts alkylation, Friedel-Crafts acylation. This we have also studied under hydrocarbons chapter, under aromatic hydrocarbons. Okay, Friedel-Crafts reaction. Now let us check out questions on this. Okay, there are a couple of more reactions. Yes. Just like how you have Wurtz reaction for haloalkanes, you have a reaction called Fittig reaction for haloarenes. So two haloarene molecules interacting with sodium metal to give you diphenyl. Haloarenes reacting with metallic sodium in presence of dry ether gives you diphenyl. A reaction very similar to Wurtz reaction, you call it Fittig reaction. So Fittig reaction involves haloarenes, Wurtz reaction involves haloalkanes. Then what if you have both haloalkane and haloarene? Haloarene and haloalkane, both. Haloalkane. Then the corresponding reaction with sodium metal is called Wurtz-Fittig reaction. Combination of both Wurtz reaction and Fittig reaction. Okay. Next. Yeah, we have the last few remaining questions on haloarenes. We'll check it out. 25th question. Carbon-chlorine bond of chlorobenzene in comparison to carbon-chlorine bond of methyl chloride is. Carbon-chlorine bond of chlorobenzene in comparison to carbon-chlorine bond of methyl chloride is. Check this. We have analyzed this. In a haloarene, chlorine atom shows plus R effect. Check out resonance. The resonance structure is this. With a partial double bond character to carbon chlorine bond. Plus charge, illi minus charge. Okay. Partial double bond character. So with partial double bond character, you know, the bond becomes shorter and stronger. Double bond is stronger and shorter than single bond. So this bond here is shorter and stronger. Shorter and stronger. Remember, bond length and bond strength are inversely related. The longer the bond gets, the weaker it becomes, or the shorter the bond is, the stronger it is. Now compare it with chloromethane, CH3Cl, no resonance. So this is just a single bond, just a single bond. Whereas in the previous case, you have partial double bond character. Partial double bond character. So that's the reason why you can say carbon chlorine bond in chlorobenzene, carbon chlorine bond in chlorobenzene, because of its partial double bond character. Double bond means it is stronger and shorter than single bond. So chloromethane has a single bond, whereas halo or in chlorobenzene has a partial double bond. Therefore, the bond in chlorobenzene is shorter and stronger. Option C. Shorter the bond, stronger it is. Okay. Yes, that is question number 25. Question number 26. Chlorobenzene on nitration. Check ಮಾಡಿ. Chlorobenzene on nitration. This is chlorobenzene. You treat it with a nitrating mixture. What is nitrating mixture? A mixture of concentrated nitric acid and concentrated sulfuric acid is a nitrating mixture. And you know, chlorine atom or any halogen is ortho-para directing, which means you'd be getting a mixture of products. Chlorine, ortho to it, you get nitro substitution. This is ortho nitrochlorobenzene, and you also have nitro group substituted at the para position. Nitro group substituted at the para position. So you get ortho nitrochlorobenzene, para nitrochlorobenzene. So you're asked which is major. You're asked the major product. We know para product is more stable thermodynamically than the ortho product. So it has to be 1-chloro-4-nitrobenzene. See, you start numbering it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1-chloro-4-nitrobenzene. Option A. 1-chloro-4-nitrobenzene. Now you may be thinking, why carbon with chlorine should be numbered 1? Why not carbon with nitro group? Simple. You have to follow the alphabetical order. If numbering from both ends is same, then you need to follow alphabetical order. The substituent which comes first in the alphabetical order must be given the lower number. So between chloro and nitro, chloro comes first, so it should be numbered 1. Okay. Yes, that is question number 26. So you get option A as the answer. Next, question number 27. Which of the following compound undergoes replacement of chlorine by merely warming? You just have to warm it. You don't have to heat it too much. So which option here? We checked it out in the synopsis part. We discussed that in the synopsis part. So more nitro groups, faster the reaction, or reaction requires milder conditions. So see in which option nitro groups are more in number. Option A, there is no nitro group. Option B, there is 1 nitro group. Option C has 2 nitro groups, whereas option D has 3 nitro groups. So this has the highest number of nitro groups. So option D is the compound which undergoes this reaction by just warming it. You don't have to heat it too much. Okay. Yes. That is question number 27. Now let us come to question number 28. 28th question. Okay. Here again, you have a question based on sequence of reactions. I told you, right? You get a lot of such questions in entrance exam where you are given a series of equations and you have to find out the final product. Here you have to find out what Z is. So let's work out the products one by one. First, let's take up the first step in the sequence, which is formation of X. See this, aniline. Aniline is the raw material taken here. NH2, aniline. It is made to react with NaNO2, sodium nitrite, in presence of HCl at 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. Please recollect, this reaction gives us benzene diazonium chloride. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಮೇಯರ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಿದೀವಿ. Benzene diazonium chloride N2 plus Cl minus benzene diazonium chloride. Okay, this is our product X. Now this is made to react with cuprous chloride. Here HCl is left out. Please include that HCl. Cuprous chloride in presence of HCl. This is Sandmeyer's reaction. So you end up getting chlorobenzene. You end up getting chlorobenzene. Yes, this is Y. This is compound Y. This is compound X. This is compound Y. Now what is Y treated with? Chloromethane in presence of sodium metal. CH3Cl in presence of metallic sodium. Okay. Now understand this. You have a haloarene, chlorobenzene, reacting with haloalkane in presence of sodium metal. So this must be Wurtz-Fittig reaction. Okay. How to write the product in Wurtz-Fittig reaction? Connect the two groups. Here the benzene ring and the methyl group. Eradunu connect ಮಾಡಿ. Okay, I'll write the benzene ring. To the benzene ring gets attached this methyl group. Easy. Ashte. Very simple. So what is this product that you have got finally? Z. It is toluene. This is toluene. So which option is correct? Option A. Toluene is the correct answer. Yes. That's about Wurtz-Fittig reaction. This is a question on Wurtz-Fittig reaction. And you also have Sandmeyer's reaction in one of the steps. Wurtz-Fittig reaction is there. There is Sandmeyer reaction as well in this question. So you can get these kind of questions very frequently, okay, in your entrance exams. Okay, question number 28 aito. Now we'll move on further. I think these are all questions based on chemical properties of haloarenes. Now, in this chapter, haloalkanes and haloarenes, at the end of the chapter, you have a small section on what is called as polyhalogen compounds. Polyhalogen compounds. Polyhalogen compounds are those compounds which have multiple halogen atoms attached or present in the given compound. Polyhalogen compounds with multiple halogen atoms present in the compound. Okay. Some of these compounds are commercially important, but they also have a side effect. The side effect is they are hazardous to the environment. They can generate chlorine free radicals, and these chlorine free radicals are harmful to the ozone layer. You all know this, okay? But some of them were earlier of great commercial importance. Okay. One such example is DDT. DDT is a very potent insecticide. Okay. DDT. Here you have to find out the IUPAC name of DDT, for which you should know its structure. Please take down this structure of DDT. It has a para-chlorine group, two such para-chlorobenzene groups. Okay, you have H here, and then you have one more carbon attached to 3 chlorine atoms. This is the structure of DDT. So it is para prime. 2 chlorine atoms are in the para position. To differentiate the two, you use the two alphabets para and para prime. Dichloro, diphenyl, 2 benzene rings, diphenyl. Trichloro, 3 chlorine atoms on the other carbon. Ethane, 2 carbon atoms. Root word. Ethane. Root word is ethane. Okay. See, I'll highlight this. I'll highlight this now. Para prime, dichloro, diphenyl. Okay. Trichloro, ethane. Very simple. Ashte. Okay. So this therefore is option A. Option A becomes the correct answer. Para prime, dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane must be the correct answer. Yes. That was question number 29. Now coming to question number 30. Question number 30 is about freons. What are freons? Freons are chlorofluorocarbons. Freons. Chlorofluorocarbons. Okay. So these are chlorine and fluorine derivatives of methane or ethane. Simple hydrocarbons. Okay. Now they are named. The number here signifies the number of carbon and fluorine atoms. Okay. So this signifies number of carbon and fluorine atoms. First number represents carbon atom, second number represents the number of fluorine atoms. So Freon 1, 2. Freon 1, 2. Okay, indicates that there will be one carbon atom and two fluorine atoms. Two fluorine atoms. One carbon atom and two fluorine atoms. So check Madi. Which option has one carbon and two fluorine? One carbon and two fluorine. Option A has one carbon, three fluorine. So that doesn't match. Option B has one carbon, one fluorine. Also not a match. Option C has one carbon, two fluorine. Chlorine estradiol. Okay. Our focus is on carbon and fluorine. So one carbon, two fluorine. That's what makes it Freon 1, 2. So this must be the correct answer. Option C must be the correct answer. Freon 1, 2. Okay. Right. Now, this is the end of your haloalkanes, haloarenes worksheet. Okay. Let me now take up the next worksheet. So dear students, we have completed 3 chapters now. One is basic concepts in organic chemistry. Then hydrocarbons, both your first year chapters. Okay. Then today we have completed haloalkanes and haloarenes, a second year chapter. Please revise this. So first chapter worksheet ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮರ್ತು ಬಿಡಬೇಡಿ. Okay. So constantly keep in touch with those concepts. So even after the third worksheet, revise the first worksheet and the second worksheet. That's how you'll become strong in concepts. And especially organic chemistry requires constant practice, constant revision. So please do revise it. Okay. So we have completed 3 worksheets. Our fourth worksheet will be related to alcohols, phenols, ethers chapter. Alcohols, phenols, ethers chapter. Let me see if I have time for that. Is time there? Okay, then I'll stop. Okay. So the next worksheet is alcohols, phenols, ethers. Okay, then I'll stop. Okay. So the next worksheet is alcohols, phenols, ethers. We will take it up in our next session. Okay. Next session will be alcohols, phenols, ethers. Please come prepared. Please come prepared. Thank you.